Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about a massive, almost secret find that's being used as a weapon. A weapon that's completely reshaping how everything gets from A to B around the world.
$1.5 million. Now, what if I told you that's the size of a secret fine getting slapped on certain cargo ships before they can even dock? Yeah, it's a penalty so big it's making some of these ships pretty much the most expensive way to move, well, anything on the entire planet.
And look, this isn't some abstract problem happening way out in the middle of the ocean. Nope. We could be talking about the very ship carrying your next phone, or maybe your car. This whole thing, this penalty, it's a sign of a huge shift in the rules of global trade. And trust me, it's about to hit the price of pretty much everything you buy.
So to really wrap your head around why this is happening, you've got to think about this concept of a secret passport. I mean, just look at the stuff on your desk. Every single product has one. The ink in your pen could be from Germany. The plastic, maybe Malaysia. They all get to you through this incredible invisible network that we just call international trade. And here's the kicker. Right now, that entire network is being completely rewired.
So, what's behind this massive rewiring? Well, it all starts with a huge shift in global strategy. Think of it like a global economic tug-of-war, where governments are getting super aggressive about rewriting all the rules of the game. You see, for decades, the old playbook was pretty simple. It was all about something called comparative advantage. Basically, every country just focused on making what they were best and most efficient at, and then everybody traded with each other. Simple, right? But the new playbook, whoa, it's a totally different story. It's all about protectionism. Now governments are throwing up walls, tariffs, taxes, to shield their own local industries and give their home teams a little breathing room.
And this gets right back to our million-dollar fine. When a country like the US starts hitting ships with these massive fees, you have to understand it's not just a tax. No way. It's a calculated, strategic move. The ports become a kind of gatekeeper, and by penalizing certain ships, the country is flexing its muscles to protect its own industries.
Okay, so when these million-dollar fines start flying around, who's actually stuck dealing with all the chaos? Well, it's this unsung hero of the whole logistics world. And right now, their job is a total nightmare.
Let me introduce you to the freight forwarder. These are the master conductors of logistics. Now, they don't actually own the ships or the planes or the trucks, but they are the absolute masterminds who orchestrate a product's entire journey. I mean, from a factory warehouse on the other side of the planet all the way to your doorstep.
And lately, their job has completely changed. I mean, it's not just about coordinating anymore. They've had to become these high-level consultants, guiding companies through a total minefield of changing policies, confusing tariffs, the whole shebang. They're the ones answering the million-dollar question, literally. Do we pay the huge fine to get our stuff here fast, or do we try to find a much slower but cheaper way around?
But this probably has you wondering, right? How can one country, say the United States, penalize a ship from another country owned by another foreign company sailing in international waters? It seems impossible. Well, the answer, it's all about the secret power of the US dollar. Get this, a staggering 88% of all trade deals in the world are done in US dollars. Think about that. Because of that one fact, the US government has this just incredible power. It gives them leverage over pretty much anyone who buys or sells anything across a border anywhere on the globe.
So how does that actually work in practice? Well, it's pretty clever. Even if a company in, say, Germany is paying a company in Japan, the money doesn't just go straight there. It often has to pass through something called a correspondent bank. And guess what? A lot of these major international banks have accounts at the US Federal Reserve. So because the money trail passes through the US system, the transaction technically touches US soil. And that's the hook. It gives the US the legal right to enforce its rules on that transaction.
But, and this is a huge but, this power comes with a really big unintended consequence. You see, while it gives the US this amazing amount of control, it's also, really starting to annoy its rivals. And that frustration is pushing them to start building their own systems, trying to find ways to get around the dollar and chip away at that dominance.
And that brings us full circle, back to the real, hidden impact of that $1.5 million fine. Because it's not really about the money itself. It's a symptom of a much, much bigger shift that's happening just under the surface, what you could call the Great Manufacturing Shuffle.
And it all boils down to this one key idea: regionalization.
Basically, to get away from all this risk, these sudden fines, these unpredictable new rules, companies are making a massive strategic pivot. They're moving their factories and production lines. They're bringing them closer to home, closer to where their customers actually are.
And you can see the effect of this shuffle happening right now. It's a huge reallocation of where things are made in the world. As companies flee the high costs and the headaches of certain trade routes, countries like India, Vietnam, and others in the region, they're becoming the new hotspots, the new go-to manufacturing hubs.
So, what's the big takeaway here? That $1.5 million fine? It's so much more than just a fee. It's a signal. A really loud, clear signal that the era of easy, predictable, set it and forget it global trade, yeah, that's over. Done. And this quote just nails the new reality we're living in. One expert said it perfectly. The container ship and the customs form have become the ultimate tools of national power. I mean, think about that. It's not just about moving boxes anymore. It's about high-stakes geopolitical strategy.
So from now on, the rules of the game are totally different. The price tag of a product, that's not the only thing that matters anymore. Not even close. Now you've got to think about geopolitics, you've got to think about new green compliance rules. All of these things are becoming just as important as the actual thing you're trying to sell.
So yeah, the world's supply chains, they're not just about being cheap and fast anymore. They're way more complicated. And now that you know these new rules, you can start to see the hidden stories behind every single price tag you see. So the next time you pick something up, just ask yourself, in this wild new era, what story is this price really telling me?